Very good evening. Thanks for clicking on to the Sunday edition of Vogan's European Outlook. Recent Halloweens have been anything but seasonal. They've been mild, if not downright warm. This year, however, we may have some indications that something a little bit more seasonal is coming our way for Halloween and for the opening portion of November. At this point in time, it looks as if we are going to see more in the way of low pressure, rain, mild conditions from the southwest as we go through the upcoming work week. But there is indications of some form of change as we go through next weekend and into the following work week. So this is the GFS, the ensemble 500 millibar height anomalies, and you can see here that we are going to start to transition. High pressure briefly comes into the UK, but as you can see here, it's always getting that bit deflected to the southeast. Low pressure coming in from the west. We've got a massive area of low pressure over the Atlantic, and what we'll see is we're going to see basically that area of low pressure, its frontal boundary separating the high to the southeast, low pressure to the southwest. What we're going to see is we're going to see systems riding along that boundary as we go through the upcoming work week. What we're essentially going to see is drier, brighter, and of course much milder than normal conditions over the southern portion of the British Isles, while across the north still mild, but we're going to see a lot more in the way of cloud, wind, and indeed rain as well. So as we skip through, you can see here low pressure always to the northwest, high pressure fairly abnormal strength of high pressure for the time of the year over France. And certainly over recent years, folks, we've seen some very mild weather as we've pushed through the second half of October. That has been a very noticeable trend, I think, in recent years, that October has come to an end with a very, very mild scenario, which just seems to be a lot of it at the moment is riding on the warm side of things. Whether that has any significance or not, I don't know. But as you can see here, as we push towards the latter half of the week, you notice here that the model, the GFS ensemble, is starting to hint at something here with more trough over Scandinavia, Eastern Europe, and that eventually takes over the majority of mainland Europe, while the area of high pressure gets pushed back to the west over the Atlantic here. And that is us starting to see the pattern as we go towards the very end of October into November. So this is as we start to push into the end of October. Halloween itself looks as if we may have something a little bit more in the way of chill, maybe overnight frost, so on and so forth. So this is how we're looking as we go from Halloween, from the 31st of October into the opening days in November. We start to see that North Atlantic ridge, Greenland ridge, for example, much more of a blocky pattern. And of course, we start to see a trough centered over the North Sea, high pressure centered over the North Atlantic to the southwest of Iceland, southeast of Greenland, and therefore we're starting to tap our air from the north here. So we could be looking at the first cool shot, if not cold shot, of the season of the autumn so far. Autumn so far has been anything but cold. I've not even seen frost this year so far, and we're already on the 22nd of October. I think this is the type of pattern that is going to show more true mid to late autumn weather as opposed to the mild stuff that we've seen in recent times, with a lot more in the way of cloud cover, a lot more in the way of wind, just that kind of dreary way. We just want to see clear, crisp autumn mornings, and it looks as if we may see that as we go forward here overall. Looking at the 2 meter temperature anomaly, it shows the picture very well indeed. Let's get back to the initial. You can see here that we start things off very, very mild indeed. That southwesterly wind continues to feed much, much milder than normal air into the British Isles. So let's skip through quickly. You can see here that the UK covered in warm, mild red. But as we start to push towards the end of October, into Halloween, into the first half of November, you see the blues here holding over the UK. So we flip things around from warm to cooler than normal as we go into the early part of November. So interesting things to come. Hopefully we can see some frosty conditions, maybe even some hill snow. We'll wait and see what happens. Hope you have a great Sunday evening. I'll be back in the next couple of days. Bye for now.